Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for choosing the mini-group on litigation. As you know, this mini-group offers Learn by Doing training for lawyers enrolled in the Eflit program. This 15-minute video is designed as a preparation for future activities in Pavia in a few weeks. Please pause this video, take a copy of your case file, and get ready to begin. This video has two main objectives. The first is to describe and illustrate the content of your case file so that you can familiarize with the documents and the legal deeds which are included in the case file. The second objective is to provide you with some basic background information concerning the Polisi case. Before we begin, let me inform you of the following. This case is based upon US law. However, the US law on preliminary injunction is very similar to Italian law on preliminary injunction. More on this later. This case is a civil case, and focus is on pre-trial activities rather than trial. This case file is for teaching purposes, and therefore it has been adapted by Eflit so to suit the needs of students. Let us now move on and discuss the content of the case file. At first, you find a memorandum of the law of preliminary injunction. What is a memorandum of law? It is a 2-3 page document written typically by an associate in the law firm and addressed to a senior lawyer. It summarizes the law on a given topic. In this case, of course, the law of preliminary injunction. To be very simple, memorandum of law would explain when a preliminary injunction may be granted, what are the conditions for the preliminary injunction, and more broadly, what are the rules relevant to the activities in the case. If you turn the page, then you will find a copy of a complaint, and you turn the page even more, you'll find a copy of the answer of defendant. These are the two legal deeds which are typically required to initiate proceeding. Remember, this is a civil case, so you do expect plaintiff to file a complaint and defendant to file the answer of defendant. Please note that the complaint and answer are very different from the complaint and answer you would draft in Italy as an Italian lawyer. The main difference is that these are drafted in bullet points. The answer of defendant is even more different because there is no narrative form, and typically defendants will simply admit or deny to the facts stated in the complaint by the plaintiff. Take a look at the complaint and the answer of defendant, read them after this video is finished, and try to understand what is the issue in this case. If you turn the page even more, you will find financial information concerning Miss Margaret Polisi. This is a list of items which gives you an idea of what are the costs that Miss Polisi suffers on a given period of time and what are the sources of income of Miss Polisi. This is again a document for you to read and to understand what is the financial situation of Miss Polisi at a given time. You turn the page and you will find the affidavits of Miss Polisi, Miss Sherwood, and Mr. Emerson. What is an affidavit? Affidavits are sworn statements submitted by parties to the proceedings or third parties. In case of Maggie Polisi, of course, the affidavit comes from a party to the proceeding, that is, the plaintiff. Take a look at the affidavit and try to guess and understand why this could be relevant to our case. More may be said about statements given by Ms. Sherwood and Mr. Emerson. Ms. Sherwood and Mr. Emerson work in attorneys' placement firms. These are similar to headhunters. These are firms whose main activity is to find jobs and recruitment for lawyers. Their statements are relevant insofar as they describe how easy or difficult it is in Nita City at a given time to find a job if you are a lawyer. You turn the page and there you go, you will find depositions. At first, deposition by Maggie Polisi, then deposition by Simon Clark. We discussed deposition in class on litigation. Deposition is a false friend. It does not refer to statement given in court by party or witnesses. Instead, the term deposition describes pre-trial statements collected typically by lawyers. So, depositions of Maggie Polisi and Simon Clark are provided in the case file and must be regarded as pre-trial declarations, pre-trial statements collected by counsel. If you read carefully Maggie Polisi deposition and Simon Clark deposition, you will learn what is their story. You will learn more about the terms of employment of Maggie Polisi at P&G, and you will learn more about the sexual relationship between Maggie Polisi and Simon Clark. This will be a great opportunity for you to understand that there are two sides to this story: Maggie Polisi's side and Simon Clark's side. Finally, we included for your convenience a copy of a precedent which is relevant for our activities in Pavia. The precedent is O'Sheaver versus Court of Common Pleas, and it obviously refers to the law of preliminary injunction. It's now time to give you some information on the content of this case. The case is termed Margaret Polisi versus Simon Clark and P&G. It is an employment case. Margaret Polisi is a lawyer. Margaret Polisi worked for 7 years in P&G as an associate. Maggie Polisi was then fired by P&G. In the language of the complaint and the language of the answer of defendant, rejection for partnership in fact means that after 7 years of employment at P&G, Maggie Polisi was fired. So, why was she fired? There are obviously two stories to this: Miss Polisi's stories and Simon Clark's story. Miss Polisi claims that she was fired after she terminated a sexual relationship with Simon Clark. Simon Clark was a partner at the time in P&G. She also claims that she was fired despite the fact that she received excellent evaluation during the 7 years of her employment at the firm. Simon Clark's story is very different, and this is also P&G's story, of course. P&G denies that Miss Polisi received excellent evaluation during the time of her employment in the firm. You may go back to the complaint and the answer and read bullet point 9, which specifically refer to the issue of excellent evaluation. P&G and Simon Clark also deny that the sexual relationship between Maggie Polisi and Simon Clark had any impact whatsoever on the employment of Miss Polisi in the firm. In order to understand the facts, it may therefore be useful to look at what happened in the 7 years of Miss Polisi employment in terms of evaluation. You may want to know that each associate in a U.S. law firm is typically evaluated at the end of each year. Evaluation is done through an evaluation committee, and in most cases the evaluation committee will issue a grade for the associate. Grades may vary from A to E, A being the best grade and E being the worst grade. At the time of the facts in this case, the assumption was that after 7 years of employment in a law firm, associates would be considered for partnership. It may be useful to remind you that in the practice of U.S. law firm, after 7 years, associates are either called up for partnership or they are told to go and find a job elsewhere. Let us now turn to the evaluation of Miss Polisi during the 7 years of her employment at P&G.